Hello, it's Rebecca here from Precious Pages Papercraft, and today's layout is for Mixed Media Frenzy. And I was lucky enough to choose the layout this week. So this is the gorgeous layout I've chosen from Pinterest, and my scrappy friends and I will be scrap lifting this today. So off camera, I've already applied a coat of clear gesso to my paper, and I've cut a cut file from Peartree Cutfiles. It's called Bluebells, and I've backed that with a patterned paper from Vicki Boutin's Colour Study collection. And I've also done a bit of fussy cutting with some patterned papers, just loads of leaves that I've fussy cut from some Vicki Boutin papers. And I've just got a pile of things that I've just pulled out that I thought would work with this layout. So I'm just sort of having a play here to see how I want to place things, and that will help me when it comes to adding my mixed media. I will know kind of the rough area where I want to add it. So before I get to work on my messy mixed media background, I want to add some stamping detail. So I'm using a black Stays On ink, and I love this stuff because I can add my stamping and then add loads of colour and water on top of it, and it doesn't run at all. It's completely waterproof, so it's great for adding detail onto mixed media layouts. So I just roughly add some stamps there, no rhyme or reason to where I add them, just kind of roughly where I think they're going to show through outside of my kind of clusters. And then I get to work with the more messy part of my mixed media. So this colour here I'm using is a Distress Oxide in Chipped Sapphire. I'm just adding that to my background, using the packaging technique and just smearing some bits with a paintbrush and bringing in some splatters as well, and just kind of building it layer at a time. And I'm also going to use a Distress ink in Dusty Concord, and I think I mix a bit of Blueprint Sketching with it as well, so it's a kind of a bluish purple as opposed to a kind of bright purple. And just while I do this, I'll let you know about Mixed Media Frenzy. If you're not aware, we are a Facebook group, and we love all things mixed media. So if you love mixed media, or you want to come along and share your work, or you just want to get some inspiration for your own layouts, do head over and send a join request, and we'd more than happily have you in our group, because we all love mixed media in our group. A group of us get together every Friday, and we pick a layout each week to this kind of scrap lift or draw inspiration from. And then the last Friday of the month, we open our hop out to the entire group. So anybody that would like to join in with a scrap lift, it's the last Friday of the month. And all you need to do is drop your YouTube or Instagram links on the thread and just let us know you want to join in. And then, yeah, we'll pick a layout to scrap lift, and everyone can join in our little hop. So if you love mixed media, do head on over. So I'm still working on my background here. I've added a bit more of the purple in, and then come back in with a bit more of that chipped sapphire. And I'm just going to dry this off with my heat gun. I'll kind of do most of that off camera because it takes a while. And then I want to bring in some gold to my layout. So I'm watering down a metallic gold acrylic paint and just adding some splatters to my background. I absolutely love this paint, it's my favourite. It's just a really cheap one from Hobbycraft. It's nothing special at all, but it dries so shimmery and metallic-y. It's really, really pretty. It's like my go-to gold paint. And again, just drying that off with my heat gun. You can kind of see there how nicely it shimmers. And that's just a case of rebuilding my layout again, probably differently to how I had it before, because it always happens. I kind of have a play, decide I like something, and then I have to add my mixed media, and then when I come back to it I can never remember how it looked. So just going to set about rebuilding everything. So I've used a white paper doily. I've also got this wooden chipboard piece here, kind of like almost like a floral mandala, I suppose. I'm going to add that in on the left, and then I've got my Peartree cut file going there on the right hand side. I'm just raising each of the flower heads up onto foam just to add a bit more dimension, because I do like to have a lot of dimension on my layouts. I'm just going to pop that down with some like PVA glue, and I've raised my photo up, just half of it on foam, just so that it brings it up to the same kind of level as that chipboard piece I'm going to use. Also, not chipboard, it's kind of like MDF, I think it is. I'm going to use glossy accents to stick that down to make sure it does not budge. There's nothing worse than putting a layout together and then like in a year's time going through your albums and finding things floating at the bottom or sunk at the bottom of page protectors. So I do like my glossy accents. This is a gold glittered flare I'm adding here. I'm going to add some purple thread behind it. I'm not very good at thread tangles, so it takes me a while. I love using my gold metallic thread for this because it just works perfectly first time, like every time. But these coloured threads I've got are just a bit of a nightmare. But I felt like I needed to use purple as opposed to gold, so not too bad. I got it right on my second attempt. That's quite good for me. Normally it takes me at least 3 or 4 attempts of getting tangled and having to cut my threads and start again. I've got a couple of feathers here. Now there are feathers hanging down on the original, which I absolutely love. They're a bit random for this layout, I suppose. There's no feathers or birds or anything in my photo, but I really did like them on the original, so I thought I would add those in here as well. And they are just, I think they're MDF or chipboard or something, but really, really pretty. And then I've got these flowers that I fussy cut from a Vicki Boutin paper. I'm just going to bring in, add a tiny bit of glue just to hold them in place, and then I'm going to raise the leaves up with foam pads to bring in a bit more dimension. I absolutely love how this layout is coming together and looking at the moment. When I first picked this layout for us to use this week, I had no intention of going with purple or blue as my colour scheme, but it just so happens that the day before I sat down to do this layout, I'd taken my little boy to the woods. It's quite famous for bluebells, and it literally was the forest floor was just covered in bluebells, and I got some gorgeous, gorgeous photos of him. So yeah, I really loved the photos and really wanted to use one for this layout. So kind of purple and purpley blue kind of was the obvious colour choice to go with. So I have ended up using them. It kind of made my layout slightly more like the original than I had initially planned, but I absolutely love how it's looking, and I love the original, so I'm more than happy with that. So now I'm just going to paint these wooden pieces I've mixed the Blueprint Sketch and Dusty Concord Distress inks on a bit of acetate and added some water. I'm just going to paint those. Off camera, I do actually remember that I've got Cosmic Shimmer Iridescent watercolour paint, and I've got some gorgeous purple ones. I can't believe I didn't think of it at the time. So once I finish this layout and I remember that, I do actually go over these wooden pieces, just that floral piece and the 2 flowers, with the iridescent paint, and it gives it a gorgeous shimmer that you'll see in the close-ups at the end. But yeah, I do go over those, and I do add some splatters with that at the end. But it was one of those things where it was very quick and I just couldn't be bothered to set my camera back up and turn it all on just for 30 seconds. So my laziness there, I'm afraid. But yeah, I do love how it adds a bit of shimmer. Now almost finished, just onto my title here. Now these are kind of puffy, I'm not sure what they are, what you would call them really, stickers from Vicki Boutin's Colour Kaleidoscope collection. So I've used the one that says Capture because it was the perfect colour for this layout, and I'm just bringing in some foam thickers here to add the word this underneath. So that's my title, Capture This. I thought that was quite fitting because as much as I do try and capture loads of photos of my son, I can take 200 photos of him and maybe only 5 come out decent because he moves so quickly. And then just as a finishing touch, I've got some Peartree Pieces. Now these are new from Peartree Cutfiles. This pack here are all cork hearts, and some of them are etched with some lovely details. So I'm adding a couple of those, and I'm also bringing in some of the metallic gold one. And I think this pack is called All That Glitters. So you get metallic gold and also glittered gold felt, and they are such good quality, and they're just like the perfect little finishing touch embellishment. I love them. I've just added some of those on, and then I'm just adding a bit more stamping just in a couple of areas because I've covered up more of it than I intended to. So just a couple more areas there I felt needed some stamping. And I think that's possibly me done. I can't remember now. Do I do anything else? I'm obviously having a think about it. Oh yes, some butterflies. So these are from the new Vicki Boutin Colour Study collection, and I've got a whole bag of them where I've just fussy cut the whole sheet of paper. So I just add in a couple of those as well. And I only ever stick the bodies of butterflies down. I love to have the wings flapping just for a bit more dimension. And now I do think that is the final thing I do. Let's see if I'm wrong. I really can't remember. It's been a long week. Yes, I'm done. Wow, finally we got there. So thank you very much for joining me today. The other girls are joining in with me as well. You will find the links to their channels in my description box. So do head over to their channels as well and have a look at what they've created based on our inspiration piece. And if you can give them a thumbs up and a subscribe while you're there, I'm sure they will really appreciate that. And don't forget our Mixed Media Frenzy group. I will pop a link to the group in the description box for you as well if you'd like to join. But thanks again, and I shall leave you with some close-ups.